Hey, this Melvin Farmer Hidden Corners, and I'm at work taking a little break and decided to weigh in on the Keefe situation and the Tupac murder and the arrest and indictment of Keefe in Las Vegas state charges, by the way. That's important. But here's the problem. Keefe when Tupac first was murdered, made a pro-offered statement. In other words, he was granted some type of clemency or something to give testimony where he described what happened that night. But I can't imagine what he said or the details, but I can imagine what he did, and what he said meant that he had no knowledge of what went down. And that is why he's in jail now, because he's been going on these bootleg platforms and writing a book saying that he gave them the guns, which would contradict his statements the night at that police station that it happened, that he had no knowledge of what's going on and didn't know they had a gun. I can tell you that's what he told you. See, you're listening to guys that wasn't around. And in 1996, I was around when that was going on. I'm coming back to Cali. The feud, in fact, was involved in a lot of situations that occurred behind that. But also, I have a relationship with Keefe when we filmed the documentary. We Googled it. Who Killed Biggie Small Tupac? By John Skorowski in Critical Concept, which I was hired, and I told Marvin because of his association with Suge Knight, which they could not get in contact with because he was barred by the courts from receiving visitors. So anyway, they say, Melvin, you can offer everybody we want $50,000. So I call my little nephew and I tell him, get Keefe for me. And I get a call from Keefe in Vegas. And I say, hey, man, I didn't tell him 50, though. I told him 30, because whatever I can get him under 50, I get to keep the rest. So I told him 30. So he say, I'm in. So, at least as far as listening. So I call John Skorowski and say, hey, man, I tracked down Keefe, and they say, well, send a picture so we can confirm it. So I had him send a picture in the front of the same house where they arrested him, went in there and took the evidence. He took a picture in the garage and sent it to me, and I sent it to John Skorowski, who, by the way, discovered Nipsey Hussle also, back with Big U and them. And he said confirmed. Then I had to go get confirmation with, who is that? Suge. So I went through Marv to where we went through an attorney, and I didn't try to tip him. I gave him 50,000, but he ended up outdoing me by having his girl, who ended up going to jail for receiving this money, 75,000, and then they arrested her. Google it right after that. Ice-T, Saladin O'Brien were the hosts. Jewel was on there, and a whole lot of us. But anyway, back to that. When you guys out here doing these sound bites and likes and incriminating yourself, getting yourself killed over issues that you getting paid over white man, I bet he ain't paying for none of y'all none of y'all funerals or buying you canteen when your ass locked up, going on these gang goofy shows, talking about shit about immunity. And speaking of immunity, let's talk about Gangster and the 40 murders. Oh my God. That he claimed he did and testified to get out. That's not true. He told about something other than that. And while we at it, I don't usually like talking about T.I. He's an all right guy. But T.I., you didn't tell that you had an epiphany that they said, tell on my cousin, and that would clear that away. That ain't how that went. They probably told something else. And if you think I'm lying, all you got to do is just send me to the mic, because they do that a lot. They bar me from getting on the mics because the shit they saying might blow up like dynamite. Any of them, Lab TV, Say Cheese, all of them, it's on some gang goofy shit where y'all going on these shows where it sounds like a prosecutor is cross-examining a state witness, which a lot of them already have been state witness. So no wonder a lot of these shows, Game Goofy, what is it, Bingo Long and the All Stars, Chitlin Circus shit is succeeding. Because all y'all got a prosecutorial state of mind. Nigga, this ain't Naz, a New York state of mind, but we got all the jazz for your ass. How about that? And you watching Hidden Corners with Melvin. But no.